Good morning. It is 9:13 a.m. on Saturday, July 20th, 2019. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, something that I was thinking about this week, because a couple of the things that I have sort of normally on my schedule didn't happen this week for a couple of different reasons. In particular, on Tuesday, we didn't play our So Many Levels Dungeons and Dragons game because of a couple of things. We were down a couple of players, and I also was not feeling super great, had a little bit of a minor migraine, and so we didn't have that session. Good morning, Kimberly. And also then on Thursday, one of the games that I play in with other people didn't have our session this week either. And then there was a couple of other things just going on in general, but I was surprised that these things happen in terms of things getting rescheduled, so I'm not worried about that in any way. But what I was just thinking is how I caught myself a couple of times this week feeling like a little bit of a subjective sense of, why do I feel like I have so much time? I'm not used to feeling like I have lots of time. I'm used to feeling busy. So feeling like I have lots of time, is that because I'm forgetting something that I'm supposed to be doing? And the answer was no, and it was even a very small amount of stuff that I wasn't doing that I might otherwise normally be doing that created this sense of, I'm busy, I'm not busy, I'm busy, I'm not busy, and if I'm not busy, does that mean I'm being lazy? And it's kind of a strange dynamic, and I imagine that a lot of other people also find themselves, pinned between those two things that seem like they should be complete opposite ends of the spectrum, and yet end up being almost like two sides of the same coin. I think that's probably a misuse of that metaphor. Anyway, I think it's just a matter of the quantum nature of free time. Because if you think about it, so often in our lives, we think about things we would like to do if only we had the time, right? If only I had time to do X, but I can't because I'm so busy. Well, you're busy because you are already doing things with your time. Now, it's also obviously true that there are some people who, really have to use every hour of every day just to sort of get by and get their bills paid and that sort of thing, and they really don't have any much in the way of real free time. And so, to be sure, I'm acknowledging that as a real thing. But for most of us, we have at least some free time, right? And we choose to spend that free time in various ways. And it's an interesting dynamic, I think, because if you want to say I'd love to do X, but I don't have time. But really, you probably do have time. It's just that you choose to spend that time on something else. You wish you had more time. But if you had more time, would you actually spend it on X, or would you spend it doing more of the things that you already do with your free time? And also, it's just a matter of when you have things like on your schedule, for example. I know personally that I start to feel anxiety once I have maybe more than 2 or 3 things in a week that are on the schedule. I start feeling like, gosh, I'm so busy, it's stressful, I have so many things, I wish I had more time to just relax. But the thing is that when you do have that time, what you do is you say, oh, I have this amount of free time. What can I do with it? And then once you have decided, oh, I'm going to take this free window and do X with it, now it's not free anymore. Now it's a thing on the schedule, and now you start feeling busy. You have a lot to do because you've decided on all of these things. And so and yet, if you want to try to avoid that stress and deliberately not plan anything for a certain period of time so that you don't feel that sense of busyness and stress, I know that at least for me, I start feeling like if I don't have anything to do, I have lots of things that I know that in theory I feel like I should do. And if I don't do those things, am I being lazy? And boy, it's just a constant teeter-totter between those two feelings. It seems like you can't have one without the other. Sometimes you actually can have both. You're busy, but also somehow in some contradictory way, feel like you're busy doing work. You're working very hard, but not doing the important things somehow. Anyway, I don't have a solution to this dilemma. I'm mostly just observing that it happens sometimes. But I actually, this weekend, I'm feeling fairly okay with things. So, and anyway, I hope that you guys are too. And that if you also suffer this weird tug of war between feeling busy versus feeling lazy, that you're not alone. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. Yeah, so quantum nature of free time. This is a phrase which probably typifies why I keep tuning in. Well, I'm glad to have you, Kimberly. This is a weird show that I do sometimes, and who's to say what it's for? It's for developing phrases like that, I guess. That's what it's for. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. Tomorrow is Sunday, which means I'll be continuing my rewatch of Gravity Falls with the Dungeons, and More Dungeons episode, which I'm kind of excited to talk about. And in the meantime, I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.